Hello and welcome, you crazy people. My name is Jay, and today I am joined by Dash, aka Mike, from the notorious Scoundrels, part of the Fifth Trooper Network. How are you today?
I am absolutely fantastic. I really excited to be here and talk about some awesome and sweet stuff.
Yes, I'm very excited to talk about the thing that we are talking about, which is basically a an unofficial campaign. I was watching Crabbox video. I appreciate that it's important. And if you want links to it, do check out the description right at the very top of it. That's going to be where you can get all the information we talk about here today, and sign up and all that kind of good stuff. But my question to you, Mike, is what is it?
Yeah, so this is an unofficial Legion campaign called Stormtide, and the idea here is we are building a narrative campaign that you play through month to month, and there's all sorts of kind of crazy RPG elements into it. If people are familiar with Hunt a Killer, it's sort of got a similar, there's like secrets in every box, and maybe there's like puzzles and stuff and things of that nature. But really, the core of this is you and your best friend or whoever you play Legion with, whether that's a son, a dad, a daughter, a mom, people at your local gaming stores, whoever, you get together once or twice a month and play through this box and just get to have an awesome time.
Yeah, for me, I think the unique thing here is that it's a physical box that you're going to get monthly, basically, and have like goodies to play with. I find that like really like fascinating personally. When did you decide to do like that kind of thing as opposed to say like a PDF or something like that?
Yeah, so we put out a survey online a while ago, probably like 6 or 7 months ago, asking people, hey, how long would you, if you're interested in like a campaign format thing, how long would it be? What are the things you'd like to see in it? We took a lot of that feedback. And our original concept was like pretty different from this, but this is what we ended up landing on kind of after going through that feedback and filtering through the community's responses.
Sure. And what my first question to you, I think, on Discord today was, is this going to be available like worldwide? Because obviously I'm a Brit, we get
Yep.
forgotten over here across the big pond. So is it true? Is it available worldwide or as
It
near as
is,
damn it?
yeah, so it is absolutely available worldwide. So um, we have a variety of options as far as ordering it goes. Look, we understand that shipping is expensive from the US to other places in the world right now. So there's a variety of options we've kind of got available. The first is you could just order it and get it like everybody else and pay the shipping cost monthly. If that's your shtick, you feel like it's worth it to you, that's totally fine. The other option we're going to have that is geared for our international customers is instead of getting a box monthly, you'll get 3 boxes at the end of a quarter. So
Mm.
we'll kind of box them all up together. It's basically, it costs us the same amount to ship 3 boxes as 1 box in the same go, right? So which is weird, but that's how it works. So if you're looking to save some money on shipping internationally, there's that. We've also got a few other maybe digital solutions in the works. We're not quite sure how to make that work yet. So we've had a few people ask us about, hey, like what if we did like an STL thing? Um, right now there's some components that we don't know how people would print. Um, so
Yeah,
that's not exactly a tenable solution presently. It may be in the future.
sure. And so let's talk about the boxes. And you alluded to it there with the STL file. Basically, in the box, it's not just like for the first one at least, it's not just going to be like cards and paper. You're literally going to be having like a 3D printable mini, and I think this ties in like quite a bit to the whole box's purpose and what it's actually going to be doing. Is that right?
Yeah, so yeah, you're not just getting paper, the things that I can talk about that are in the first box that aren't like secret are you're gonna get 2 minis, one for each player that's playing it. So each box is geared for 2 players, and they're basically like a commander mini that you get. And then you're each gonna get a rule book and order tokens and some other tokens like objective tokens and stuff like that that are customized specifically for the campaign and things of that nature. And as you play through each mission, you'll get more stuff. Each mission is in like a sealed envelope in the box, so you actually don't know what's in there until you like progress through the narrative. So we're kind of keeping those things a secret and kind of like under wraps. But you'll get a bunch of command cards at the start of the campaign and unit cards for your commanders. So there's a bunch of doodads and stuff that's all pretty high quality, frankly, as far as like all of the art is done by us. We had Skullforge Studios do the minis, so we've taken a lot of time to kind of breathe life into the art of Stormtide.
Sure, and I never said this at the start, but basically this is going to go live for pre-orders the day that this video comes out. So when I said the links are in the description, if you do check them out, you will be able to like go and do that right now. Don't hang around, you can go in and check it out. But I think I feel interested. I really like the idea of having like I'm going to call it like a loot crate. I appreciate that's not technically what it is, but that kind of like monthly physical box. Like I really think the idea is very like ingenious. It's very creative. Who came up with that? Was it you? Like, was it Jay? Like who takes the credit?
Yeah, so Jay and I, Jay's also at the Fifth Trooper Network. We're the kind of primary people that have been working on this for like 6 to 8 months now, and Jay came up with the kind of like monthly, like he and his wife play a lot of Hunter Killer, which is why I brought it up earlier, because that's kind of where we got this idea of like a monthly narrative that kind of really proceeds through everything. And so it was mostly Jay coming up with the idea as far as like the nuts and bolts of like the things in the box go, specifically the content that's related to the missions and stuff like that. I did a lot of the decision making on like, these are the things we need to facilitate this mission and these design aspects and stuff like that.
Yeah, and what interests me as well is the actual campaign part of this. So you have it, I believe that you're going to have it so that people can submit the like results and that kind of stuff, which for me, when I was always there, we did some campaigns with my friends in like Warhammer Fantasy Battle and stuff like that, and it was always how the campaign evolved was always the most like interesting thing in my experience in those kind of games. So like, what do you envision like people are submitting the results and stuff like that? Like how do you envision that changing your campaign as it goes along?
Yeah, so basically, when you start the campaign, you're gonna pick a team. There are 2 battle cruisers that you get to pick from at the start of the campaign, one belonging to either team. And as you progress and record your games, depending on which team wins specific missions, things in later boxes may change. We're also looking at incorporating like if Jay here, is the highest victory point leader on the Stormtide campaign leaderboards, maybe Jay's named commander shows up in a later box. Like maybe you find Jay's commander's laser sword or something to that effect, kind of allowing us to really make some of the things unique to the players that are actually playing the campaign.
Sure, and like I'm really fascinated by this. Like for some reason, I've never really gotten into like campaigns, sort of like online. I know like Games Workshop and stuff like that. I've always done them, but I've always found them a little bit superficial. But the idea of having like a box that you get in with like the results matter, and for some reason, like it's getting me super hyped for it. Like I'll be there on the day that the pre-orders go live, which I know, but I'm not going to reveal here, and because it's going to be right now. But yeah. So so the next question will be, I don't want to talk brass tacks, but I'm going to have to, like, how much are we looking at? It's a physical box. I presume obviously people you're going to have to pay to get that box, because it makes sense. You can't just send stuff out for free.
Totally. The price point was definitely something that we kind of, there was a lot of iterations of the price and what was in each box and stuff like that. So the price for each box is $30 plus shipping. And so it's basically $15 a player plus shipping. So you and a friend get together, you each put in $15, and you get this sweet loot crate.
Yeah, and that's basically, I mean, not exactly, but it's basically the price of an expansion for Star Wars Legion. So it's not, it's nothing crazy there. And quite frankly, the moment Star Wars Legion content is slow.
A
um,
little bit,
so,
yeah.
so this is not exactly a bad time to be releasing something like this. And so I believe pre-orders are going live like imminently, as we said
Yep.
today. When will people like be able to get their actual hands on the boxes?
Yeah, so our plan is that the first month that will be like Stormtide Box 1 will be August. So we'll start shipping at the beginning of August. So people will probably get them, second, third week of August, depending on, how far away you are from us and things like that. And we'll be sending them out monthly after that. I would like to caveat that with um, we have a logistics chain set up. We're printing a lot of this stuff in-house. And, if for whatever reason the numbers are so high that we need to reevaluate that logistics chain, it might be like, okay, we're moving it from August to September type of deal. This is definitely a new thing that we've done, as far as like we've never done anything to this scale and potentially this like volume before. So we're definitely, I think, prepared for what we expect the volume to be. But if for whatever reason the community is more crazy about this than we think they're going to be, which is a good problem to have, we may push it back 1 month, but we don't anticipate that.
Sure, that makes sense. I mean, everything has to come with a caveat, especially in COVID times as well. You never know what might crop
Yeah,
up.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
One other question is like, how does the campaign have a set length, or do you just plan on it going like on indefinitely?
So right now the campaign, I actually right before we got on this cast, I was working through the middle of box 7 and 8. So right now we're pretty firm on doing at least 6 months, like minimum. And as we kind of move forward, we'll evaluate that depending on the number. If it's as big as we think it's going to be, I think you could expect it to be an indefinite thing with maybe some like reset mechanics. The way that I have designed the story and the game elements to be is every 3 boxes is kind of like a mini story. Like if you want to think of that as like an enclosed episode, and you move on to the next 3 boxes with the stuff that you had from the previous 3 boxes. You then go into the next episode, and there's like a bunch of different like rules changes and things that are themed. So for instance, the theme of the first 3 boxes is this Stormtide commander and them gaining experience and kind of getting their feet wet and stuff. And so for each 3 boxes, we're going to have a new unique focus that you can kind of invest points into like upgrading and stuff. And if the community wants it, I think we'll just keep making it, is kind of how I feel about it.
Yeah, it all sounds great. And this will be towards the end of my questions now that I've grilled you. But let's say I get my second box, so not necessarily the first one, because I imagine that's going to be a lot of like setup and stuff like that. But I get my second box. What can I expect, just like monthly to monthly, in terms of the game, and what do I need to join in? Like, do I need 300 points of Legion, or like what do I need?
Sure. So, the initial points that you'll need is 1,200 points, and the idea behind this is that when you get your initial box, you're going to set up a roster of 1,200 points plus your Stormtide commander, and you're going to draw on that roster for your mission. So, if people are familiar with like Marvel Crisis Protocol, where you have like 10 guys, but you only use 4. This is sort of a similar thing. So as you open a mission, that mission may only be like a 500 or an 800 point battle, or more or less. But using those as examples, you'll draw on units within your roster to kind of fit the niches that those missions are. So to kind of tailor your army to your game plan for that specific mission. Yeah.
Do the missions have like flavors of will there be like an attacker and defender? Can we expect that kind of stuff, or will these be more like in a sense more like traditional Star Wars Legion missions? That oh, what I'm trying to say though, is it more like a normal Star Wars Legion mission, or is it like the escape pod missions? Do you know, that kind of thing? Is it more like
Sure,
imbalanced
sure.
but deliberately imbalanced? If that makes sense.
So, I'm pretty competitive Star Wars Legion player. I personally have designed all of these missions. So, I like to think they're a bit of both in that they play similarly to like the escape pod stuff, but they're definitely a little bit more like I could also play this in a competitive setting if I really want to type deal. Like clearly you can't bring those things to a tournament, but they definitely they're definitely, I think, a little bit more competitive. I will say, as you progress through the boxes, we kind of start you off a little bit simple in like box one as far as like stuff goes, and we get progressively more complicated as we go on.
Yeah, and when we
Um,
say competitive, I presume we mean balanced. Really,
yeah,
it's
yeah. I
not
mean,
like
I
you have to be
balanced
across the
is
table like as balanced as you've tried to be. I appreciate that.
yeah,
A
yeah.
perfect balance is probably impossible just in general. But when we say competitive, I presume you're not being like it doesn't have to be two players who are like top tier, tournament players or anything like that. It's not that case. It's more just you're going for as balanced as possible in the narrative and in the gameplay and stuff like that.
Yeah, we definitely I don't really like games that you set up and you're like, "Oh, I'm like 10% to win this game." Like that's not fun for anybody, right? So or even like 30% to win the game. I think most of these scenarios that we've built like are definitely pretty balanced. Now with that being said, if you come across a scenario that requires you to maybe have units that are better at like scaling terrain or something like that, and you don't have any in your roster and your opponent does, like there may be some inherent balance things from like within the campaign, but that's kind of sort of things that are going to play out over the course of the campaign in a way that I think people will find fun and unique, even if they don't feel entirely balanced at the time.
A question then about the roster, the 1200 points, whatever you said it was. Can you change that at any point, or is that once you start that in game one, are you stuck with that?
So, overall, the answer is you're going to pick 1200 points of units at the start of the campaign and you're going to kind of stick with it. Like I said, there's probably going to be some like reset points like every 6 boxes or so. With that being said, the amount of things that you end up adding to that battle cruiser roster in the form of upgrades or other things make it so that like you're probably not going to end the campaign with 1200 points. You'll probably end it with like 1500 points worth of stuff at the end of like box 3.
Sure, all makes sense. And the one thing I want to say, I will have intermittently throughout this video, you've got like a trailer that I've watched is very fantastic art, and I'll also be showing screenshots of there's the little bits of the tokens and stuff like that. Everything looks, I've got to say, my personal opinions are everything looks completely fantastic. I
Thank
think
you.
the box is looking very high quality, and I'm very excited to see the community like embrace this and adopt it, which I'm sure they will, because you should do it right now. I'm staring at you screen. And as I said, the link will be in the description. The pre-orders are live today, so go in there, click it. You'll get the information. If I've not asked something that you're like, Jay, why didn't you ask this? Well, I'm sure it's in the link below. And another point is the other Jay from the Fifth Trooper. I mean, see, he's got a great name, but I feel like he stole it off me, and I'm still not happy about it.
A little bit, yeah.
It's a great name, but I mean, it's like Highlander. There should only be one. And he's dominating everything with the Fifth Trooper network. Like, what am I? I'm just a guy in his bedroom not wearing pants. Like,
I don't know about that. I'm not sure that's fair. I'm not sure
but
that's
no,
fair.
but yeah. So everything you need is in the description. Anything I didn't cover, Mike, the floor is yours if you want to say anything. I don't. Sometimes when I do these things, I'll like look at it later and I'm like, oh, why didn't I ask that myself? But the floor is open for you.
Yeah, I mean, we're really excited about this. There's a ton of content We've got some like behind the scenes like video YouTube stuff that people will be seeing kind of as leading up to the actual release, where we talk about some more of this stuff a little bit more in depth as far as like the nuts and bolts of how it all works and what we're aiming to do and stuff like that. So be on the lookout for that stuff. We definitely are trying to kind of pump this up across the Legionverse, because we think that this is, at the end of the day, we all love Legion and we all want to support and make this game awesome. So we're hoping that this is just another way to do that with your friends, family, community.
Yeah, I think the idea is super unique. You mentioned that game that I'd never heard of, but having like the physical box, I just think is like very creative, very unique, and I wish you the best, and I wish the Stormtide the best, which I never actually said the name. I'm hoping you said it several times, but I never.
I did. It's okay.
But good, because I mean that would be the one job, I guess. But yeah, so thanks for joining me today. I said links in the description, everything you need. Have a most beautiful day. Goodbye.
Thanks for having me.